You're listening to the P.A.C.E Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
Good morning, it's February the 6th, and welcome to Psychedelics and Cannabis Education. How are you doing, Rev Cindy?
I'm doing well. Well, I'm sick, but doing well. How are you?
We're all sick, we're all patients, but I understood what you're talking about because I saw your post. You're feeling a little under the weather this morning.
I am. Rotator cuff issues, cold flu that I caught from the grandchildren, but I'll survive.
Yes, yeah. Long way from the heart, right?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Anything new and exciting you want to mention offhand before we get going? How's the weather, too?
It's freaking cold here. It's yeah, it's just freaking cold. But I don't feel so bad. We interviewed somebody on Tuesday that was sitting in just outside of Calgary, and they were at minus 25 before the wind chill, like minus 37 with the wind chill. I'm okay with minus 17.
Yeah. Well, you got some snow coming because we're getting it today and it's coming your way. So
yeah, we've got snow Friday and then we have a storm hitting on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Get the shovel out, right? All righty. What do you say? Time to get going?
Might as well get through these stories, yeah.
All right. We got 8 of them coming at you, everyone. Here it comes. Start with the first one.
Coming to us from MJ Biz Daily, California issued 63 cannabis recalls, nearly 500 product embargoes in 2024.
Yeah, California's chief of cannabis regulator on Wednesday morning released information about enforcement and consumer safety efforts the agency initiated in 2024, a year marked by widespread accounts of pesticides and other contaminants found in commercial cannabis products statewide. The Department of Cannabis Control issued 481 embargoes last year, resulting in hundreds of thousands of cannabis products and raw materials removed from the supply chain until internal investigations deemed them safe or mandated their destruction, according to the news release.
DCC is using every resource at its disposal to ensure cannabis products meet safety standards before they reach the marketplace. This is coming from the agency's director, Nicole Elliott. She goes on to say, "We are constantly learning and refining our investigative and recall process to make California's market stronger and safer while building upon a compliance model that consumers can trust."
This is the first time the agency has released the embargo figures. Now, the DCC's product investigations team in 2024 issued 63 recall notices that included 259 products and nearly 25,000 individual units.
Wow. MJ Biz Daily in early June highlighted the department's efforts in ramping up cannabis product recalls and health warnings to consumers, promptly primarily at the time by the presence of Aspergillus, a fungus that can grow on cannabis plants. Later that month, a report by the Los Angeles Times and Weed Week highlighted the presence of pesticides in several regulated products.
That report was an important catalyst that led to more recalls, according to a source with direct knowledge of the agency's structure and enforcement mechanisms. The source said other factors that prompted more recalls included routine DCC visits to cannabis businesses, abnormalities in the state's product tracking system, and internal investigations carried out by the agency's environmental compliance and manufacturing safety branch.
The DCC issued only 3 product recalls per year in 2022 and 2023, according to MJ Biz Daily Research.
Wow, that's a huge increase.
Yeah, huge.
Huge.
Yeah, three products per year in the 2 years prior. Wow. Recalls and other enforcement actions go through a cumbersome, painstaking process before they are issued, ensuring the orders can withstand regulatory scrutiny and potential legal challenges. The source told MJ Biz.
Most industry recalls are issued several weeks to months after products hit the shelves or are purchased, according to the analysis of recalls last year in California, Colorado, Massachusetts, Michigan, and New York. I gotta say, it's pretty close to the same thing that happens here as well in Canada. The DCC, according to the source, is prioritizing closing the gap through timely lab testing confirmations, the launch of metrics retail ID and other testers, including analyzing test lines and delays.
The regulatory
quality assurance check, as far as I'm concerned. Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. The regulator issued 366 disciplinary actions against licensees in 2024, including 230 license suspensions and 73 permit denials or revocations. Testing labs, which allegedly played a role in the THC potency inflation, questionable methodology, inaccurate or altered results, were involved in 21 disciplinary actions, including 4 license revocations and or denials and 3 permit suspensions.
I know here in Ontario, they do random tests on the THC potency because of the fact of the concerns of inflation on it. So. Yeah, and at any given time, more than 30,000 cannabis products and 100 million units are in the supply chain in California, which is the world's largest regulated market.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of recalls.
Hello, Gordo. How are you?
There you go. Oh, yes. Good morning, all. Good morning, Gordo. Alrighty, on to the next story. I changed my screen around a little bit. Looks different for some reason, but that's all right. I'll just keep on going. All right, next story is up.
Coming to us from Nanaimo News Bulletin. Nanaimo residents have an opportunity to join psilocybin therapy trial.
A trial of psilocybin therapy to treat depression is being opened to applicants in the Naomi area. Psilocybin is a psychedelic found naturally, through more than 200 species of fungi, commonly called magic mushrooms.
Yeah, the study analyzing how the compound can improve treatment-resistant depression is being tested on an estimated 568 participants across several countries, including the U.S., Denmark, Chechnya, Spain, and more. In the Nanaimo area, the research is being conducted by the Medical Arts Health Research Group. Adam Watson, who is the group clinical operations lead, said the intention is to try to make BC the leading province on getting access to these advanced, most up-to-date mental health treatments.
Now, Watson says the end goal is ultimately to see if psilocybin coupled with psychological support can ultimately help patients who have depression that have failed conventional therapies, to see if they can experience a greater sense of relief from depressive symptoms. After the current third phase, the safety and efficacy data is planned to be submitted to Health Canada for wider approval. The entire process is expected to take several years, according to Watson.
It's only been in recent years that we've been able to get psilocybin therapy through special access programs here in Canada. So it's really a monumental time to do some more research, on this potential therapeutic agent to see if it's really going to deliver the results intended. Watson said that Medical Arts Health Research Group is looking for about 40 patients from across BC, including 10 from Vancouver Island.
Yeah, he continues to say that we're looking at things in PTSD and complex grief and addictions as well. This therapeutic has the potential to work in a number of indications, and we're hoping we can facilitate access to these treatments for all these different individuals. those interested in joining or asking to visit the group's website. It's healthresearch.ca/psilocybin, or give them a call, 888-736-0667. And to be eligible, you got to be at least 18 and have been diagnosed with major depression, failed 2 to 4 pharmacological treatments, and meet additional study criteria.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. We've had similar studies here in Nova Scotia, not as large. The one that I was almost involved in, they took 24 people, veterans specifically. But the same idea, you had to have tried pharmaceutical drugs. You had to have therapy. You've had to show that you've been trying to work to get healed or to heal yourself. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see it happening right across Canada and the world.
Yeah, because if you're doing a study on certain things, obviously you need those people to be there, in order to see how it works. So it makes sense. Alrighty, on to the next story.
Coming to us from Marijuana Moment. Opiate prescriptions drop in states that legalize cannabis. Federally funded study shows suggesting some pain patients prefer cannabis.
Yeah, some, many. A new federally funded, study shows that legalization of cannabis in U.S. states is associated with reduced prescriptions of opioid pain medications among commercially insured adults, indicating a possible substitution effect where patients are choosing to use cannabis instead of prescription drugs to treat pain. Yeah, just imagine, eh? Now, the report says that these results suggest that that substitution of cannabis for traditional pain medications increases as the availability of recreational cannabis increases. And they say that there appears to be a small shift once recreational cannabis becomes legal, but we see stronger results once users can purchase cannabis at recreational dispensaries.
Yeah, reductions in opiate prescription fills stemming from recreational cannabis legalization may prevent exposure to opiates in patients with pain. The report, published in the journal Cannabis, continues, and lead to decreases in the number of new opiate users, rates of opiate use disorder, and related harms. The new research, which was supported by a grant from the National Institute of Drug Abuse, looked at national records of opiate prescription fills, as well as prescribing of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and other pain medications. Analysis show that prescription opiate fills dropped following legalization in U.S., while prescribing of non-opiate pain medications saw marginally significant increases. I find a lot of this interesting. So non-opiate pain medications are increasing. People don't want the opiates. They don't want to be addicted.
Right.
They want to make sure. And this is federally funded.
Yes, exactly. So, that's why they're trying to deal with the opioid epidemic. And would it not make maybe sense to make it cannabis a lot more accessible to people to try to, as they're saying, reduction in opioids, which leads to reduction in deaths?
Exactly.
Yeah. They say once recreational cannabis dispensaries open, we find statistically significant decreases in the rate of opioid prescriptions, 13% from baseline, the study says, and marginally significant decreases in the average daily supply of opioids, which is a 6.3% decrease, and a number of opioid prescriptions per patient, which drops down by 3.5%. The findings were authored by a 5-person research team from the University of Chicago, University of Georgia, and Indiana University Bloomington.
Notably, because of the NSAIDs are typically available as over-the-counter medication, researchers said their analysis using these medications are underpowered. Our findings may therefore support the analgesic properties of cannabis because patients are prescribed fewer opiates without a statistically significant increase in non-opiate pain medication when cannabis is available, they wrote.
Yeah, so that means that the aspirin numbers haven't gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another explanation could be that prescribed healthcare providers reduce opioid prescriptions following cannabis legalization. The team acknowledged, pointing to evidence that adding cannabis to state prescription drug monitoring programs impacts providers' prescribing practices around other controlled substances, such as opioids. Whether driven, this is what the report says, whether driven by patients or healthcare providers, reductions in opioid fills stemming from recreational cannabis legalization implementation may prevent exposure to opioids in patients with pain and lead to decreases in the number of new opioid users, rates of opioid use disorder, and related harms.
In references a study published late last year examining the effects of adding medicinal marijuana cannabis to PDMPs, which concluded that the additional tracking and mixed effects, both reducing the prescription of medications that could cause complications with cannabis and also exposing a possible bias against medical cannabis patients among healthcare providers. Authors of the new study also pointed out that prior research shows that while some subset of the population uses cannabis when it becomes recreational legal, many wait until dispensaries open. Still, many more wait until dispensaries have been open for several years.
Yeah. Team also know that most prior research has focused on medical cannabis legalization. They wrote that we expand on this literature by examining recreational cannabis legislation. Furthermore, we include a novel examination of non-opioid pain medications. Now, the new study adds to a growing body of research indicating that cannabis reform may help lessen patients' use of opioids and tamp down prescribing of prescription painkillers.
A study published late last year, for example, found that legalizing medical cannabis appeared to significantly reduce monetary payments from opioid manufacturers to doctors who specialize in pain. According to recently published research, with authors finding evidence that this decrease is due to medical cannabis becoming available as a substitute for prescription painkillers. Other recent research also showed a decline in fatal opioid overdoses, in jurisdictions where cannabis was legalized for adults. That study found a consistent negative relationship between legalization and fatal overdoses, with more significant effects in states that legalized cannabis earlier in the opiate crisis. Authors estimated that recreational cannabis legalization is associated with a decrease of approximately 3.5 deaths per 100,000 individuals. That's awesome.
Exactly. Our findings, as the report says, suggest that broadening recreational cannabis access could help address the opioid epidemic. Jeez, didn't we just say that at the beginning of the show, this one? Now, previous research largely indicates that cannabis, primarily for medical use, can reduce opioid prescriptions and find it may also successfully reduce overdose deaths. Further, this effort increases with earlier implementation of recreational cannabis legalization. It added, indicating this relationship is relatively consistent over time.
Yeah.
It's not just a blip in the system. It's happening.
Yeah. Another recently published report into prescription opioid use in Utah following the state's legalization of medical cannabis found that the availability of legal cannabis both reduced opioid use by patients with chronic pain and helped drive down prescription overdose deaths statewide. Overall, results of the study indicated that cannabis has a substantial role to play in pain management and the reduction of opioid use. And yet another study published in 2023, linked medical cannabis use to lower pain levels and reduce dependence on opioids and other prescription medications. And another, published in the American Medical Association last February, found that chronic pain patients who received medical cannabis for longer than a month saw significant reductions in prescription opioids.
But 1 in 3 chronic pain patients reported using cannabis as a treatment option, according to the 2023 AMA published report. Most of that group said they used cannabis as a substitute for other pain medications, including opioids. Other research, we could just keep going on and on and on in here, and I think that's going to happen with this story. They're just showing more and more evidence that cannabis is beneficial when it comes to reducing opioid use and maybe eliminating. Just so you know, I've shut down the story. And
Yeah, no, I'm still stuck on this. It's federally funded.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, wow. And they're seeing that. Hopefully something gets done and people can get access, get the option. Like I know when I was diagnosed with my Crohn's back in 2003, I knew about the negative end of opioids. And so I went looking about, what's an alternative? What can cannabis, right?
Yep.
So I've only had 2 prescriptions for opioids, and that's why I was hospitalized in 22 years.
Wow.
So, yeah. All righty. I'm going to get the next one going here.
Okie dokie.
We'll get the next story up, and then we can get on to it instead of me just sitting here talking. Here we go. It's up.
Coming to us from Ganjapreneur, Tacoma, Washington makes entheogenic psychedelic prosecution lowest priority for law enforcement.
Yay. There we go. The Tacoma, Washington City Council last week unanimously passed a resolution to make prosecutions for entheogenic psychedelics the lowest priority for law enforcement. Tacoma Weekly reports the resolution does not decriminalize entheogen-related activities, but makes the investigation, arrest, and prosecution of anyone engaging in activities related to them among Tacoma's lowest law enforcement priorities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The resolution also includes language stating that the City Council supports decriminalization of psychedelics to help facilitate mental health treatment research in the use of entheogens. Councilmember Joe Bushnell, the resolution's lead sponsor and U.S. Marine Corps veteran, told Tacoma Weekly that the resolution is a testament to the board's commitment in exploring innovative and compassionate approaches to mental health.
And according to Bushnell, he says that in the United States, there are 22 veterans a day who commit suicide. As a veteran who lives with PTSD, I'm acutely aware of the challenges faced by those struggling with mental health conditions. The promising research on the therapeutic potential of entheogens, particularly psilocybin, offers a beacon of hope. By declaring our support for decriminalizing these substances, we can advocate for further research and potentially life-changing treatments. Now, Cole Schrum, a licensed therapist and founder of the Tacoma Psychedelic Society, said she was unsure whether the vote would be unanimous due to the ambivalence of a few of the council members.
We brought an authentic voice, she told Tacoma Weekly. We had the collective voice of different stories of people wanting to live again because they found healing through psychedelics. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Good morning, Deb Dew.
Morning.
How you doing? Alrighty. You know what time it is?
It is medication time.
That's right. It is. It's medication time. We'll be right back. You're watching Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News here at PACEradio.net and 420pace.ca. But first, a little bit of information about an upcoming event that we're going to be talking about.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at PACEradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection. We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from, the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have 2 lines of drinks. One's called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario. Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
You're listening to the P.A.C.E Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And we're back to bring you some more news. Alrighty, what do you say? Next story, it's up.
On to the next story, yeah. Coming to us from Business of Cannabis. Damning Colorado cannabis test shows vast majority of products do not comply with regulations.
Ooh. More than 85% of regulated cannabis products sold in Colorado adult use market might violate health and labeling laws, according to a recent report by one of the state's cannabis operators. Frustrated by the apparent reluctance of the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division to test state-regulated cannabis products and punish those found to be breaking the law, Justin Singer, CEO of manufacturer Ripple, asked his staffers to visit Denver's area MJ retailers on November the 12th and purchase the flower, shake, and pre-roll brands they would normally purchase.
The company then sent unmarked, unadulterated samples, bud, pre-rolls, and shake, to state-regulated cannabis laboratory to have the products tested for potency, yeast, and mold, pesticides, and microbial contamination. According to the lab results, only 2 of the 15 products purchased at Denver area retailers complied with state regulations, and some were found to have dangerous levels of contaminants.
That is not good.
No. That's kind of scary.
It is kind of scary. That is the secret shopper that goes around. I know that Legacy 420, they have their lab and all that, and they've tested many products that have been brought into the store to be just to be tested, basically like a secret shopper type thing, and yeah, test results completely different than what are on packages.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't even think they've even had one equal to what was on the packaging. So
wow, crazy.
Yeah. All righty, almost there. This is going to be interesting. Just never heard of this story, so here we go. What's up?
Yeah, coming to us from Talker. inside the 10 million medicinal cannabis factory guarded by ex-soldiers.
Oh, okay. Guarded. These amazing photographs provide a glimpse inside a unique $10 million medical cannabis factory in the UK. The top secret facility is heavily protected by more than 150 security cameras and a highly trained team of ex-military guards.
Wow. The factory is run by Devonshire-based firm Daglity, which produces high-grade cannabinoids for prescription medication. The growing of cannabis for medical use was legalized in the UK in 2018.
Now, Dalgetty's state-of-the-art facility is spread over 30,000 square feet in the Midlands and is surrounded by razor wire fencing and bulletproof glass windows. The site is the first in the UK that holds the EU GMP certification to cultivate, manufacture, and sell for distribution. Wow, this is the first LP, and this is what they require.
Wow. Yeah, this is crazy. CEO James Levisley said Dalkey was founded 5 years ago, and it's taken 4.5 years to actually get to a point where we're fully licensed by the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency and the Home Office to cultivate, manufacture, and supply medical cannabis to the UK. Some of the feedback we have received from doctors was that the supply of imported cannabis can be unreliable and with varying quality due to lack of transparency in the supply chain.
So that means when patients are prescribed medical cannabis, they get their repeat prescriptions often. It's not available or out of stock. That happens right here in Canada. If products have to be imported, it can take 12 to 20 weeks just to get into the UK.
Yeah. The benefit of being located here in the Midlands, as soon as we finish the growing cycle, we harvest and slowly dry our product, and then we pack it. From that moment, it can be within a patient's hands within a month.
The longest thing that we're waiting for is the test results from our third-party lab partners, and once they're all clear and we know it's safe, we can release it into the market, something that all producers must adhere to, however, often handled internationally. The plants, which are fed around 12 times every day, wow, really? Are grown in a series of medical grade laboratories, which are constantly air filtered.
Interesting. The team of expert growers are all issued with specially made dark glasses due to the powerful LED lights used to cultivate the crop. James added, the lighting has been bespoke made, and we actually create artificial wind in the room to ensure that there are no microclimates.
Each plant takes 5 months to grow, over 6 months and 6 feet in height when they are ready to be harvested. They are then dried and cured to remove any moisture before they are trimmed by hand and their flowers separated.
Interesting. Head grower Brady Green, who joined the company in 2023, said our crop cycle runs about 5 months in total. About 2 weeks in the crop propagation stage, about 2 weeks in veg, and then flowering takes about 7 to 12 weeks, depending on the variety.
Yeah, that's about what I know, those numbers. From there, it takes about another 2 weeks to dry and 2 weeks to cure and a little bit of time to trim. While high yields can be achieved through the cultivation of premium cannabis, it is important to recognize that yield size does not necessarily equate to quality, and often it does not.
In cannabis cultivation, there are specific phases where accelerated growth is beneficial, such as during the vegetative stage and logistical processes. However, the drying and curing stages require careful precision and patience, where a low and slow approach is essential to preserving and enhancing the terpene and cannabinoid profiles.
This crucial aspect is often overlooked, as some producers prioritize speed to bring products to market as quickly as possible, sacrificing phytochemical integrity and overall product excellence. At Dalgardy, they say that they recognize the true quality cannot be rushed. It is achieved through time, precision, and unwavering commitment to excellence.
Excellent. Once it's packaged, once it's packaged, we can get our product to patients in a matter of weeks. It's important to discuss medical cannabis openly and break the stigma of this plant.
Yeah, last September, it's the opposite of evil and dangerous, and hopefully it can provide a lot of assistance for people. And last September, the company secured their second license, giving them permission to sell their product.
Nice. The company shipped its first batch of product last month, which equates to 500 prescriptions worth of medical cannabis being filled.
Yeah, and they've got that there. They've got the cannabis. So how come it's so hard for patients in the UK to get access to cannabis? They got producers there. They should be.
They're only now licensed to send it out now. Like they just got.
Yeah,
that.
well, let's hopefully that makes things better for the patients in the country, because we've done a report recently talking about the fact that there's like 4 or 5 kids in the UK that are licensed for medical cannabis, when there's hundreds, literally hundreds of kids who could use access to medical cannabis, but they can't.
I think when we read that, there was 298 kids that were waiting for the prescription.
Yeah, and like 5 have it. It's there. It just seems hard to access, whether you're a child or whether, and I don't know. It just seems to be a program that's hard to access.
So it's really nice to see this, but surrounded by barbed wire fences and ex-military guards. Wow.
Yeah, I know, like here in Canada, we've got you got to have the security. There is cameras and stuff like that are required. But yeah, the ex-military guards overlooking that's quite the thing. So
I wouldn't mind that gig.
Yeah. Alrighty, on to the next story.
Coming to us from International Cannabis Business Conference, German government, no connection between cannabis legalization and organized crime.
Good stuff. Look at all the police cars there, little cars. Since the implementation of the first provisions of adult use cannabis legalization in Germany back in on April the 1st of 2024, some cannabis opponents inside and outside the country have tried to claim their recreational legalization is causing a spike in organized crime activity. However, the federal government's answer to a recent inquiry made by CDU-CSU parliamentary group regarding the Macro Mafia in North Rhine-Westphalia, it was made clear that this is not the case based on the available evidence. The question and answer was included in the German Cannabis Business Association's recent newsletter.
Does the federal government see a connection between the legalization of cannabis and the increase in organized crime, especially the Macro Mafia in North Rhine-Westphalia? And if not, why not? Was the question posed by the CDU-CSU faction. It was question number 7, number 27. The legal changes as part of the legalization of cannabis are only been in force for a few months. As at present, no conclusions can be made about the impact on organized crime. Over and beyond the events mentioned in North Rhine-Westphalia are probably not due to the partial legalization of cannabis, but rather to independent conflicts between rival criminal gangs. And this is the federal government stated in a response to the question.
The answer from Germany's federal government comes on the heels of the results of a peer-reviewed study being published that addressed another claim made by global cannabis opponents, that one being based on the claim that legal cannabis sales led to a spike in emergency room visits. Now, according to the report or the study, it says this study investigates the impact of recreational cannabis retailer allocation on emergency department visits related to cannabis, alcohol, and opioids. And the study used data from Canada's legal recreational market, which was launched in 2018.
Yeah, no significant effects were found in cannabis, alcohol, or opiate-related emergency room visits following the allocation of cannabis retailers. The research concluded the allocation of recreational cannabis retailer licenses did not significantly impact acute care use. Another common claim made by cannabis opponents is that cannabis legalization harms youth and increases youth consumption rates. Numerous studies have looked into the data in the United States, where several state-level legalization laws have been adopted going back to 2012.
And according to that data, it says youth cannabis use declined in 19 of the 21 states that legalized adult use cannabis, with teen cannabis consumption down at an average of 35% in the first states to legalize a decade ago, according to the government data. So there you go.
Interesting. Yeah. There are some kids that do it just because it's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I'm breaking the law and I'm getting away with it. One of those big thrills when you're young, right? Yeah. And then people used to say, well, when you get older, that sort of fade goes away. And a lot of adults did. And but medical cannabis is here, and seniors at one time I know was the largest, fastest growing numbers when it came to being patients. So, all righty, next story.
Coming to us from the European Medical Journal, psychedelic psychotherapy, promise and pitfalls.
A new analysis of psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy research calls for greater methodological rigor and ethical reflection as the field continues to evolve. The study highlights key gaps in current research, including the role of therapist-specific factors, the need for process focused research, and the importance of expanding diversity in both clinical trials and therapeutic practice. In recent years, interest in PAP has grown as the clinical trials explore the therapeutic potential of psychedelics for treating psychotic conditions. These treatments typically involve a combination of supervised psychedelic sessions and multiple psychotherapy sessions, both before and after dosing. However, the authors caution that the current body of research lacks significant exploitation of therapists' influences and therapeutic processes, which could have significant implications for patient outcomes.
While clinical trials have focused largely on therapeutic outcomes, little attention has been given to how the personal characteristics and experiences of therapists may affect those outcomes. Therapist-specific factors such as their theoretical orientation, prior psychedelic experience, cultural background, and training may implicitly shape the therapeutic process and influence patient expectations. Given the heightened suggestibility associated with psychedelic experiences, how therapists frame these experiences may profoundly impact outcomes. For instance, presenting psychedelics as a means for spiritual insight versus a tool for enhancing psychological flexibility may create different expectations for therapeutic results. These framing choices highlight the need for further research into how therapists' beliefs and behaviors contribute to both benefits and risks.
The study emphasizes the importance of psychotherapy process research, which investigates what takes place between therapists and patients during sessions. While integration therapy, the drug-free sessions following psychedelic dosing, helps patients make sense of their experiences. Little is known about which therapeutic techniques are most effective. Exploring these techniques could help optimize long-term outcome and minimize potential risks.
Yeah, the authors also raised concerns about the limited diversity in PAP research. Most clinical studies have focused on narrow populations, limiting the generalizability of findings. The inclusion of diverse communities and perspectives, both within clinical trials and from practitioners with long-standing experience in non-medical settings, could improve the safety, efficacy, and cultural relevance of PAP. Another clinical area involves listening to patients who have experienced harm during PAP. Understanding their experiences may help refine risk-benefit assessments, improve informed consent practices, and establish stronger ethical guidelines for therapists.
The authors advocate for a more comprehensive approach to PAP research that integrates diverse voices, examines therapists' specific influences, and focuses on the therapeutic process itself. By adopting a stance of epistemic humility, and acknowledging the limitations of current knowledge, further research can help build a safer and more effective framework for psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy. There you go. Understanding, how that all works, right? We quite often we talk about, taking microdosing and excuse me, and psychotherapy. So now they want to see how it actually works. So
Yeah, and like I mean, they touch on a very important point there. Having a therapist that understands the psychedelic you've just done is very, very important.
Oh yes.
Such as like if you go and you sit with ayahuasca, having a therapist to help you with the integration that's partaken in ayahuasca is important, or psilocybin, depending on the medicine that you've chosen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Anything else? We've got all our stories done. Anything else offhand? Huh?
I don't think so. Besides, Can Expo is coming up, and the influencer awards or the awards, you can now nominate people for the awards, and you can do that by going to their website. And I encourage you to do so.
Yep. canexpo.ca is their website, and check it all out. We're going to be reporting from there. So we'll be there all weekend. So check it out and find out what's going on. So other than that, from the Legacy420.com news desk, that's our P.A.C.E news report for today. Thanks to our buds at the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, Limestone City Hydroponics, At-Eze.ca, and Legacy420.com. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. And don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not, whatever you do not incarcerate.
You're listening to the P.A.C.E Radio Network here at PACERadio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20 is so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partners 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420 enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at PACERadio.net.